is added called the continuous data protection. Okay. So the normal replication that we set up, they are based on a virtual machine snapshot, and we can go up to hours or even minutes level only. Now, what if I want to have an even lower RPO replication? So this is the one that we should look into. Continuous data protection, this options is available now for VMware virtual machine. Okay. And it's designed to protect mission critical virtual machine. The data loss for seconds or minutes are unacceptable. So CDP also provide minimum recovery time because utilizing normal replica recovery or failover, we can make sure the service or application can be up within minutes. Now over here you will see common use case. It is only applicable to critical workload needing lowest RTO and RPO, which usually be your top 5% of your application. This CDP only applicable to handfuls of virtual machine. Okay, so this is the recommendation because if you actually put in too many virtual machine running on CDP replication, it will cause some overheads to your ESXi, and eventually it might slow down the overall performance of your infrastructure. That's why usually we will require a few VM that goes with CDP replication, or others will go with the normal replication set. So this guy only supported for VMware, as you can see. Then we are not utilizing VMware snapshot. Okay. No workload or hardware dependency, no physical distance, because we are not running on a synchronous replication. Yeah? That's why for Vim CDP replication, we still will incur data loss. Okay? Data loss are still there, but it will look into like a few second level data loss instead. Okay? So if you are going with synchronous replication using storage level solution, they can offer up to 0 second RPO, no data loss at all. Vim, on the other hand, using this CDP, it will not able to achieve that. Yeah, so be careful. These do have some differences here. Okay, so now, let's see when we are utilizing CDP configuration. You can set up your RPO, okay, as low as up to 2 milliseconds. So this is very low, and Vim will not recommend to go up to 2 seconds. Okay, because in most infrastructure, 2 seconds will be quite frequent to transfer your data, and it will generate even a higher loading to your network, etc. things like this. Okay. So most of the time you will see in most cases we will try to test with 15 seconds. Okay. And this CDP replication, due to the natures of creating a data, we are not using snapshot. They can only achieve crash consistency. So over here you will see for Vim RPO, you will see that they can go up to 2 seconds. This is the lowest. Now usually they have this formula backend. So 1 second to capture data, right. Okay. Then another 1 second to transfer to DR proxy. Okay. So usually it will be 1 second to capture data, right? And then the other second is to send to the DR proxy before write it to your DR data store. Now using this 2 seconds, it's basically capturing data every 1 second and send over, okay, to achieve your RPO. So it will generate even more loading, etc. things like this. Okay, so this is the formula. Now if you go with 15 seconds, you will see that over here, they will utilize basically around 7.5 seconds to capture. Then another 7.5 seconds to transfer. Okay. So that I can try to achieve the RPO that you set for 15 seconds. So within 15 seconds, I will always send 1 times of data transfer. So this is to make sure your RPO is within 15 seconds instead. Right? So you will see that from here, the configuration later, they will also give you some options to show you whether your infrastructure will able to support this particular requirement or not. Okay, so later we'll come into that. And over here, you will see for CDP, first thing, your retention is a bit different now. When I set up with CDP replication, first thing, they will ask you RPO usually will go down to second level. And because I want to have the shortest RPO possible for one particular critical VM. Now, this second level data, because you generate a lot of multiple 2-second restore point. So this restore point will look into something like point in time recovery data. How much do you want to keep inside your data store? So how many second level restore point they want to keep? So next thing you will see short-term retention here, meaning if you want to keep by 1 hour, okay, 1 hour. So 1 hour here, how much? So you will see here, okay. So 1 hour, we have 60 minutes, right? So when we multiply by 60, I have like 3,600 seconds, right? 3,600 seconds. Now, if I divide by 2 seconds, so within an hour, I will have like 1,800 restore point. So it will be very, very huge and a lot of point generated inside your data store. Okay. So if you're going for 60 times 60 second level, if I divide by 15 seconds at least, you will see I have only like 200 over restore point. So they will keep that numbers of data change as a restore point inside your data store for how long in time. So it might eat up some additional free space in your DR ESXi data store equipment. Okay. So this is how you actually keep the data first thing for short-term retention. And then after that, you will see this is to cover usually up to second level RPO. Hey, what if I want to restore data from last day or maybe yesterday? Then you will have another long-term retention here that can offer additional application consistency using snapshot base or things to perform your backup, etc. And you will see that over here for long-term retention, I can keep restore point based on maybe every day or every half a day. So this long-term retention is a bit similar to your normal replication retention. Okay, by keeping how many points by day or maybe by how many hours, etc. So within the same CDP job, we can actually fulfill both types of retention policy. Okay. So now, with this configuration, you will see if you have no idea whether the virtual machine that you have selected, can they actually meet your RPO or not? Maybe you set to every 15 seconds. Then here you will see that over here, when you selected your source proxy and your target proxy. Now, by the way, the VMware CDP proxy require Windows-based machine. Yeah? They do not support Linux yet. So we need to use Windows-based machine for this. And then when you selected your source and your target, then when you click on test button, they will check from your vCenter or ESXi for your virtual machine current data write bandwidth. Okay, how much data write you are going on currently per second level. And then they will check your source and your target resources. Do they able to cater this load or not? So we'll see which one is basically a bottleneck. You just need to do some additional sizing to it in order for you to support your RPO requirement first of all. Okay. So now over here you will see for the configuration part, you can always click on the test to check this particular data transfer rate. So this test, you can always test it even later after the job is created. Okay, so maybe when you create it, the VM loading is lower. Then later, maybe when they are higher load, you can click on the test again to see whether your infrastructure can support the peak write rate or not. Okay? So when you have the CDP replication, I can also use it to fail over. So this one will cover tomorrow in the replica recovery using failover, they have additional options here using CDP. Okay. So now, lastly, you will see that as compared to normal replica, CDP replication will lack of certain options such as planned failover. They will cover in the replica recovery, sure replica, inside sure backup, also will cover on the third day. File level recovery is not supported using CDP replication. Cloud Connect partners infrastructure cannot support CDP yet currently. Okay, so these are a few differences. And then in your CDP, you can also define additional notification if your CDP replication job does not meet the RPO that you have set. Okay, maybe I set to have 15 seconds, but then due to some peak write issue, maybe at that time too many data returned to the VM at the same time. Now they are not able to transfer due to infrastructure network connectivity dependency. They are not able to finish your transfer within a 15 seconds interval. Okay. Then you will see that over here, max delay, they will even tell you. You need to have additional how many seconds before data can actually update to the other side. So your RPO now exceeding the one that you have set, like maybe you plan to have 15 seconds, but eventually you get 20 or maybe 25 things like this. So you will get additional notification for you, and you need to check how many times this actually occur. You need to adjust your infrastructure accordingly to see which one is your bottleneck, is it network whatsoever that you might need to increase some bandwidth, etc. Okay. So this will be some of the additional things that you can actually see. Now for CDP, let me just go into my test backup server just to show some additional things. Okay, so you will see that from my VMware infrastructure. Okay, so I have a test cluster here added into my backup server already with 161 and 162. 161 is the primary, okay, which this guy is sitting here, and the replica is sitting here, for example. Now we are doing replication from this to this, okay, running on CDP. Yeah? So you will see Ubuntu CDP and Ubuntu CBT replica is there. So over here you will see, what do we need first thing? When you go into your backup server, right, I need to first add in under infrastructure here. Okay, so I need to add in either the vCenter that come with the cluster that you plan to perform this CDP replication, so they can do within the cluster level. Okay, and using CDP for VMware, we are not utilizing virtual machine snapshot anymore. Instead, we are utilizing another VMware driver that we call IO filter. So you will see my environment, we already push the Vim IO filter driver into the cluster. So I mean to say, you will see the Vim IO filter driver is already installed in my environment. If it is a newer one, you will see here, install IO filter. I need to push this into the cluster level. And then from the cluster, it will apply to the host level. So let me just show you from the VMware point of view. So you will see my cluster here. Okay, it's already enabled with the IO filter, as you can see. So you will see class cluster IO filter. I already push in the Vim IO filter driver. So this one works together with VMware VAIO. Okay, they are Vim API for IO filtering. So this is Vim flavors of driver. And then from the cluster, they will push into your host level. Also, you will see that your host here 161 and 162 both come with the same CDP IO filter as you can see here. This is from Vim. Now utilizing this CDP IO filter, Vim now can actually capture what are the data returned to the virtual machine. Okay, just a moment. I tried on my host. They do not require a reboot. Okay, they do not require a reboot. Install, I don't think you need a reboot, but I'm not sure. Depends on version over here because the driver here require at least 6.5 and above. Okay. Uninstall, I think require a reboot. Install, from my testing here, it doesn't require any reboot. Okay. So this is to install and prepare the environment with this CDP IO filtering so that I am able to communicate with the ESXi about the data returned to the virtual machine. So I will capture based on this IO filter log instead of using a snapshot. So I know exactly which data block is returned to the VM. And then those data blocks will also capture on your source proxy level before sending to your DR. Okay, so this is the first thing you need to prepare. Okay, so the IO filter is there already. Then I need to ready two CDP VMware CDP backup proxy. One in the source, another one in the DR, right? Now in version 10, you will have additional CDP proxy option here. You will see that your normal proxy and the CDP proxy is separating. You cannot utilize your CDP proxy for other tasks, and for your CDP replication, each replication set should have their own standalone CDP proxy in order to make sure your performance is optimum. Okay, we generally do not share a proxy for your virtual machine CDP replication. Okay. And your normal job will require the normal backup proxy add-on, and those can be done maybe running on Windows or Linux. This VMware CDP proxy can only support Windows-based platform now. Okay, so we'll see that over here, when an admin has a CDP proxy, when I go to property, okay, so they will give you some additional options. So you'll see that here, they have different port number used. Okay, between the ESXi and the CDP proxy here, you see that most of the things happen on the host level, and also communicating to your target CDP proxy server. Then they will also ask you about your cache here. Now, if your RAM memory does not have enough space to capture your particular data change, maybe your data is too huge, your RAM runs out, they will then utilize your disk to run as a cache level. Okay. So if they can keep on the RAM memory level, they will try to utilize that. So if you have like more than gigabytes of data going on, okay, per second or per 15-second level, then maybe they will need to utilize this level cache to help out. Okay. Then you can also define your traffic rules straight over here. And that's about it. Nothing much need to be done. So just telling Vim that, okay, this two CDP is ready. Okay, this two CDP is ready. And then I will create what we call the VMware CDP replication job. Okay, so when I go to edit for this job, this is ongoing running. Yeah? So you see that my environment now is still running okay. SLA is around 99 to 100%. Yes, sure thing. It requires CDP proxy on both sides. That's why as mentioned just now, if you try to deploy CDP replication, you need to have the CDP proxy. It cannot utilize other proxy at all. And your CDP proxy should come in a pair, one in the source, one in the target. All right. So from here, you will see from your CDP policy, when you select your virtual machine, okay, so this gives the system some hint on which VM you're trying to replicate, and they will actually check on this virtual machine data write rate. Destination, which shows similar case like your normal replication. Now, when it comes to policy setting, here will be a bit different. Now, you see that over here, they will ask for your source proxy and a target proxy. They can only select CDP proxy for the task. Okay, they can only select CDP proxy for the task, so remember that. So when you selected all these things, they will base on your virtual machine, your source proxy, your target proxy, and the network between these two guys, because you will have network here between these two guys to perform this test. To see that, okay, you're trying to do CDP replication for the VM, right? Now when I click on test, they will tell you whether your environment, your source proxy, your target proxy, do they have required resources to actually perform this task or not? So you will see that over here. For my source proxy, target, both having 4 cores of CPU, RAM memory is enough to cater the data capture, and the link speed we can also fulfill for the 83 kilobyte per second throughput. Alright, so just a moment now, let's see here. Okay, so this will be the data that they actually capture from the vCenter or ESXi. So they will check from the VM, does it come with this per second data rate or not? Okay, every time when you click on it, they might change. Okay, so you can check every now and then for the low, average, and also peak data rate to see whether your link speed can able to cater this particular transfer or not. Okay, so this is the first thing that you can do. And then next thing you will see from the schedule, this is where you can actually define your second level RPO and also to keep the data for how many hours. And then additionally, some long-term retention that you want to use. Okay, so pretty easy here. Then after you created the job, this job will be ongoing running because they're running on continuous data protection. So you will see here when I double click the job for the status. Okay. Now you see that from the particular configuration. Now although I set it to 15 seconds, you will see that duration will be 7 seconds. They will capture data changes within 7 seconds and then they will transfer it using the next 7 seconds to make sure your RPO can be done within 15 seconds. Okay? So this is how they actually calculate and help you to meet your SLA or RPO. Okay? So they don't wait until 15 seconds for all the data changes to send over here. Your actual RPO is actually lower than 15 seconds, so to speak. Okay? Because they require some buffer time before your data actually get updated to the target DR site. So all this will actually keep track here to tell you, okay, whether by these numbers of seconds is your data able to send over or not straight away. Right? So all these things will be captured from your job, is it? Okay. So we'll see here, it will be ongoing every 15 seconds, for example. And the CDP can only apply to running virtual machine. Yeah? So if your virtual machine is not online, it cannot do this task. And from your virtual machine point of view, you will see they are a bit different here. First thing, now your replica VM, as you can see here, when you right click, they do not come with any snapshot in your replica. So this one is different from the normal replication job. Normal replication job, you will have snapshot here to indicate your multiple restore point. If you are using CDP, they are utilizing something like a T-log kinds of data capture to save your restore point. So over here, if I go to the CDP replica VM data store, for example here, okay. So if I open up this folder, you will start to see inside this folder. Okay, I will have a lot of additional file created. First thing, you have your VMBK, and then you will start to see a lot of additional T-log, things like this going on. Okay. Now these are the files used to capture your particular data changes, and it is used to actually cover your restore point data. Okay. You can use the power on, okay, but not recommended. Now, if you power on your DRVM manually, what happens? Later, when you try to perform a reversing, it will not be available, okay? Because it's not controlled by Vim. Vim cannot help you to perform all these tasks. That's why if you are doing replication with Vim, better to use VBR to control the failover, etc. So we will cover it tomorrow in the replica recovery. It's better to use the backup server to do all these things. That's why if you find it a bit dangerous, the VBR should stay in your DR center. Okay, just to make sure your backup server is available at the time. Okay. So this is utilizing T-log kinds of configuration to capture your particular changes, etc. on your VMDK, as you can see here. Okay. They even create multiple additional virtual disks to cover your virtual machine data disk here. Okay. They will see. So this is your actual disk. Then they will have T-log and additional disks to capture your data changes. So here you will require more space to facilitate this particular restore point data. Okay. So this is a bit different as compared to the normal replication that we have using snapshot as your restore point. Alright. So any question for the R